We have Olathe Public Schools here with us next. We will admit Dr. Sarah Guerrero, who is with us this morning. Let's give it a second to kind of pop up. Dr. Guerrero, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Just so you know, we are live on Facebook. We want as many people as possible to know about all of the great opportunities at Olathe Public Schools. Tell us who you are and who you represent, and we'll get started.
Well, first of all, I want to say welcome to everyone. I don't think I get to see anybody on the screen, but welcome so much. I'm excited for you and congratulations on the next step of joining any school district, but hopefully it'll be Olathe School District. So anyway, my name is Sarah Guerrero, and I am the Assistant Superintendent for Middle School Education with the Olathe Public Schools. Very, very fortunate to be in this position. First year doing that. Prior to that, I was a school principal for about 6 years. Not originally from Corpus or from Kansas. I am originally from Corpus Christi, Texas. So this is home away from home is what I always say. But I tell you what, it's Olathe School District that has kept me here. So I'm very fortunate to be a part of our team. I don't know what more you want to know about me other than I moved here in 2004. Started my undergrad at Texas A&M, received that in education. Then it was actually a principal of mine when I moved to Kansas from the Piper School District, Larry Breedlove, that encouraged me and motivated me to go into administration. So I got my administrative degree from Baker University. And then some professors there at Baker I always say they persuaded me to get into the doctoral program, and I'm glad I did. So completed my doctoral program in 2014 from Baker University, and here I am today. Been married to a wonderful man for 31 years. I was a young pup when we got married. I have two young men. I have a 28-year-old that lives in California, and then I have a 24-year-old that lives here in Olathe.
That is amazing, Dr. Guerrero. I'm glad you went through a little bit of your intro because this is actually the first time you and I are meeting each other, right? So I'm glad to know a little bit about you, and I'm glad that we stole you from Corpus Christi. Thank you for being with us this morning. Dr. Guerrero, I know Olathe provided us with a slideshow, and so you just let me know when you're ready to go on to the next slide, and we'll move through your slideshow.
Okay, that sounds great. So I think some of the things just to let you know is, what is it about Olathe? What can I tell you about Olathe and what great opportunities that we have? So when you're ready to move on, I'm fine with that. It's good. So the Olathe School District is, in case people didn't know, and I think this is really important, especially for a Latino coalition. Because when we think of Kansas or Kansas City, we think of the Kansas City, Kansas, and we're, Johnson County, do we have diversity? And we do, we really do in the Olathe School District. In case people didn't know, the Olathe School District is the largest school district in the Kansas City metropolitan area. We know where it's located here in Johnson County, Kansas, suburban Kansas. And so I think that's really important to share that it serves students from Olathe, parts of Lenexa, Overland Park, Shawnee, and we have more than 30,000 students, about 4,600 staff members. And of course, I always like to share that our vision is preparing students for their future. And I need to make sure I point this out. When we say preparing students for their future, our district truly believes in that and embraces that, and saying that we're preparing students for their future, not for our future, not the days that when we were in school. And so that's something too that Olathe, that I really appreciate about Olathe, is that we stand true to our vision of preparing students for their future. You can move on. So with Olathe being the second largest district in Kansas and the largest in the Kansas City metropolitan area, here's some fun facts about Olathe. We have 36 elementary schools, and our elementaries are grades K through 5. In some districts, you might have K through 6, but in Olathe, it's K through 5. We have 10 middle schools, with the newest one that opened in 2018. They serve grades 6 through 8, and then we have 5 high schools that serve grades 9 through 12. We are also have an Olathe Technical Center. And for those of you that aren't familiar with our Olathe Technical Center, what that is we have our 21st century programs. And I know many people hear about that in our career pathways, but in our OATC program, it can range anywhere from welding classes, culinary classes, automotive tech, healthcare science, animal science. So that's what our OATC serves. And then in addition to that, we have a variety of additional support programs in our district. And so in addition to that, I think it's important to share our student demographic. This is where I was telling you is people don't think that Olathe is very diverse. We're very diverse and we continue to grow. More importantly, we're the fastest growing district when it comes to Latinos, Hispanic students. We serve 18% of our students are Hispanic. And then of course the demographics are there, 7.8 are African American. We have 86 languages spoken in the Olathe district. So big on the diversity, big on the ELL program. Some of our strengths include outstanding students and staff. And of course, I'm biased, but we do have the best. We have the best when it comes to community support. You know, I've been in several districts and coming from Texas, it's very hard to get the community partnering with school districts. And you would think with a district this size, it would be even harder, but it's the complete opposite. We have such a strong partnership with our community members. We have partnerships in every school where if we need resources, we work together to provide whatever needs and services our students may need, specifically our students that have higher needs, or maybe they don't have that at home. We have a very strong partnership. We also have the Olathe Public Schools Foundation. That Olathe Public Schools Foundation is one of the best foundations that I've ever worked with. They help give back to our community, give back to our teachers to help with student learning. That you can apply for grants for schools. I know in buildings that I've been in, we've won up to $10,000 in grants to start whatever program it may be. So again, just that partnership that we continue to have. And I shared a little bit about our staff, but just a breakdown there. 2,600 certified staff, and certified being teachers, administrators. And then of course, just a little over a couple of thousand classified support staff, paraprofessionals, administrative assistants, receptionists, data operators, all of that fall into that. I think it's important that when we talk about the Olathe School District is what is our vision and where do we want our students to know and be able to do. And a couple of years ago when we, with our new superintendent and now even with our incoming superintendent, we came together and started thinking with the end in mind. And we said, what is it that we want our kids to be able to do when they leave? So pulled together several, and when I say several, you know, more than a couple hundred people from the community, internal and external stakeholders. And we started thinking about our current kindergartners and where we want them to be by the 2030. And when we put this together, you know, our belief was this is not something that we're just going to pull out every now and then and put it or just shelve it later. This is going to be our driving force. And so just trying to pull all community members, parents, teachers, and we said, this is what we want our students to be able to do, hence the portrait of a graduate. And these are skills that we are truly believe that our kids need to be able to do. And I'm not going to read them to you, but you can see there, I think we all agree that those are critical skills that our students need. And so with that, our focus, our strategic plan, our vision, everything is tied to what we want our students to be able to do. I think another piece that I love about Olathe is our commitment to diversity. So many of you may or may not know, I don't know who's on here, but you might know our awesome Eric Arazo. And Eric is outstanding. Eric has been the pillar to getting all of this started for our Hispanic community, but now just even with him and Marquis Harris in general, just all our diversity in putting everything together, making sure that we're committed to promoting diverse, inclusive environment for all students. And we truly do mean that. we are being very intentional. We don't want to be the district that says, oh, yes, we embrace diversity, but we're not doing anything about it. We are really passionate about it and intentional when we put this together. You'll see a lot, hence me being here, Eric going out and doing what he has to do, being involved in our community, being involved with our students, developing programs that are going to help support our students, and of course, doing our best to attract employees that are going to be tied or similar to what our demographics, our student demographics are. And so with that, we're very intentional. We're not always successful. We do our best and it's hard. And so I'm excited that hopefully this will help to be able to attract that. Because as you know, Susana, being Latina, sometimes it's hard to get away from home. It's hard because you're close to home, family's there, and you worried, where am I going to be that I want to make sure that I fit in? Well, Olathe is one of those places. It's outstanding. So
That's awesome, Dr. Guerrero. Thank you for making sure to make that said that that's part of your commitment.
yeah, and I do have some more. And then of course I talked about our 21st Century Academy, and I wish that my boys would have had this when we were in Texas, and then when I moved them here. I really wish that every district should have programs like this, and it's our 21st Century Academies. Our kids can leave, depending on whatever program they enter, they can leave with some kind of certification to be able to either start some kind of 4-year program, a technical program, whatever it is that they need to do, and be ready to get into a job, whether it's a welding position or a 4-year college, 4-year program. But the 21st Century allows it's housed in our district schools, and these programs allow the students to build on their interests and learn specific knowledge and skills that they can apply towards their post-secondary experiences or even just their career fields, because we know not every student wants to go for a 4-year university. We've got to have all kinds of careers, and I think that's really important that we offer that. I'm going to go, you don't have to go back to the slide, but I'm going to tie this to our commitment to diversity. And I say that because we have implemented our future teachers program, future educators program. And while we're going to all students to be a part of our future educators, we're just having to think, how do we keep and grow our own? And specifically because of the nature of today's is, how do we grow our own and encourage our minority students to go into education? And then from there, preparing them. And if they complete the program and they follow the expectations that are laid out, they could, get a job when they have a guaranteed job when they come back, if they follow, all the expectations laid out as part of the program, and they can come back to Olathe, and we want them home where they're needed. So I think that's really important in tying it back to our commitment to diversity in our district. So how do you apply for Olathe School District? Well, if you could follow us on Twitter. If you have your phone out, I don't know if that screen will allow you to take a picture of the QR code, but you can also go to our district website, olatheschools.org, and go into our human resources and be able to fill out your application. You'll see all the opportunities that we have available, whether it's certified or classified, and just start completing your application. I do also want to point out, Susana, that do not allow the fact that if you're moving from out of state or you're just graduating from college, do not make that a reason not to apply if you don't have a license yet. Complete your application, but note on there that you are in the process of attaining it. That's really important. Don't let that stop you from applying for a job just because, well, I'm in Texas or I'm in California and I don't have my Kansas license yet, but I'm working on it. If you're working on it, then you need to apply. Very, very important. The other thing is what opportunities do we have? Our opportunities change all the time. Obviously with teachers, we're still posting and we continue to post. It can change daily. Our opening of our virtual school, if anybody has kept up, we're opening our very own virtual school next year. And so that virtual school could potentially open more positions. The other part is substitute opportunities. If you, maybe we don't have a position quite open in your field, that doesn't mean that you can't, and you can't find a job somewhere else. Apply to be a substitute. I've always said that's a great opportunity for you to kind of interview on the job. You know, one of the things that we always tell our teachers or tell anybody, every day is an interview. And if you can't get into an actual teaching job, you have no job, come in and substitute. It's our opportunity to see you in action. And it's also an interview for you to see if you're a fit for us and if we're a fit for you, and just getting that experience. So I always encourage anybody, if you can't find a job and you have a teaching degree, get in and sub. It's amazing. Paraeducators, the same thing. Paraeducators, and I don't know if we have people from all over the place, but for us, it's in some states, like in Texas, I know they're called teachers' aides. So paraeducators are those that support our teachers and our special education students. We're posting now through May, but know that we stop at the end of May for a little bit, and then we post again in June, just because of the nature of the job. They don't work between May and June, but if you don't see anything, look again, because we have a high need for paraeducators in our district. Same thing goes with support staff, custodial. If you know anybody, custodial, cafeteria workers, administrative assistants, or secretaries, those are all positions that anyone that you know that, hey, they would bring a great asset to our district, please encourage them to join and apply. Go get online and apply.
Dr. Guerrero, I don't even have any questions left because of how well you've represented Olathe Public Schools, in my opinion. The only thing I'll ask to wrap us up, you know, if I'm watching this right now, and Dr. Guerrero, this is on our Facebook, so there may be people from around the nation. If I'm watching this right now, what is kind of a sentence that you would tell me to know that perhaps Olathe is a place for me to consider?
Absolutely. So first of all, I want to tell you that if you're an educator that really, really loves and develops and believes in developing positive relationships with students, if you're a compassionate person and you know specifically you have a passion for the sensitivity to student differences, I think that's really important because of our commitment to diversity and because of the clientele that we serve. We need people that are, you know, acknowledge and sensitive to our student differences, particularly with our learners, right? If you are dedicated to students and you have a love for teaching or passion for the work, it's really important that we want you. We want you to be a part of the Olathe School District because that is what we stand for. We stand for preparing. We don't just say this is our mission statement, preparing students for their future. We mean it. And every student is different. And we have to be able to provide them that love and support and commitment for their education. So what separates Olathe to me is that the full commitment that we are here for kids. Our kids come first, and we're going to do everything that we can to get them ready for their future. Everything we can. We want educators that are, you know, have passion in their heart. We always say you got to have some fire, and that's really important because that's what our kids need to see. It's for me, coming in from South Texas, where I know I see a lot of Latinos and I feel at home when I'm there. It's, you think, where am I going to feel at home? How is this going to make me feel moving away? With Olathe School District, one of the things that I have always loved and appreciated is they embrace me for who I am. They allow me to be who I am. I don't have to be anybody else. I can be, you know, my Latina self when I need to be. You know, I don't have to change any of it, and they love it. They appreciate it, and then of course our kids do as well. So there's just so many reasons that you want to be a part of Olathe, but to me, this is, if I had to, of course, I always want to go home. I always say I want to go home, but right now this is home, and it's, I have no desire. I could go to any district. We have several great districts in our area. We really do. If you're familiar with Kansas City, we have, you know, large districts, and I could go to any of them. I've had opportunities at other places, or if they wanted me to go in, but I can't. This is where I feel at home.
Well, that's good to hear, Dr. Guerrero, especially because we know that Latinos leave, on average, leave the classroom after 3 years. And what we're hearing a lot about that is it's being due to the fact of not feeling like we fit in, right, into districts and into our school systems. And so we appreciate you kind of naming that. And we appreciate you being with us here this morning. Any final thoughts or final words for Olathe Public Schools?
Yeah, I would say that you won't be alone. You have me, you have Eric. We have, and Eric is really doing a lot. You have everybody in our district. I'm just going to put it out there. We might be a large district and we have 30,000 kids and we have 4,600 employees, but I promise you're going to know who the superintendent is. And you're going to know who the assistant superintendent is, and you can pick up the phone and call any one of us. It doesn't matter. You are never alone in this district, and we work really hard for our staff and for our students. But Eric and his crew are working. They work their tails off to, get our educators together so that they feel at home, give them that opportunity. I know Eric is working real hard, and let's get all our Latinos together, or let's get our people of diversity so we can be able to talk and share with one another. What are you thinking? What are you doing in your classroom, or just somebody to talk to? Because some of our people don't have family here. So we have to be each other's family. But anyway, my final words to all of you is you have chosen a career like no other. Education, despite this year, I'm going to tell you, there's been times that you think, oh my gosh, do I want to continue doing this? Yes, I do. I love what I do. I have a passion for what I do. I love students. That's my goal. It was an educator that made a difference in my life, because I could have ended up anywhere. But I always remember Olga Barbosa. I'll never ever forget her. And she said, you need to go and be a teacher and make a difference for others. And I just feel like this is your opportunity. You're going to join a profession that you can make a difference. And even if it's a difference for just one student, it's one student, but you're going to make a difference. So I'm excited. It makes me very proud to know that we're getting more and more people into education. No matter how hard it is, don't you give up.
Yes, well, I want to name Olga Barbosa, your teacher who encouraged you to go into education. We always love to hear stories of teachers who inspired us to be educators. Dr. Sarah Guerrero, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Let's keep in touch.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, LEC community, you heard from Olathe Public Schools, Dr. Sarah Guerrero with us this morning. As I mentioned, after Brookside, we have our survey link for our events. We would love to know what the LEC is doing great, perhaps some feedback on what we could do better. We are all about knowing how to best serve you and our community. We have a little bit of time, about 10 minutes before our slot with, let me pull it up, with Kaufman Schools. Kaufman Schools is next at 10 a.m. So I will go ahead and pause our video for now, and I will be back right before our slot with Kaufman Schools. Thanks for being with us, everyone.